what strain do we use and why don't we use the recommended one, basically. Yeah. The recommended one is, what was it called again? Yes, that's right. Our strain is called 532C. This is just a man-made designation by the guy who isolated it. It doesn't really mean much. 532C, 532C. It's just, as I say, an invented designation for that strain. We got it from, remember I showed you some trials in Canada of Professor David Hume, University of Guelph. He actually gave it to us to begin with, because he'd done a lot of tests, and he said, this is a good one, and I'm going to recommend it in Canada. We got it, and we looked at it, we compared it with the one that you just mentioned. We got CB1809, which was the pet recommended strain in Australia. We got 4 strains that are recommended by the Ministry of Agriculture in Brazil. We got G49, which is the recommended strain in France, and we've got our own isolates. We've got a bank of about 5,000 rhizobia that we've isolated from nodules, from soybeans grown wherever, all over. We've isolated 5,000 strains, and we've gradually whittled them down to what appear to be the best, and compared them with all of these commercial strains that I just mentioned. And to cut a long story short, 532C, with all of the varieties, in all of the soil conditions and environmental conditions that were tested, came out the best. Now, you might find a situation, a particular soil, one trial with one variety that the other one is just marginally better. A good strain, obviously, it's got to effectively nodulate the plant and it's got to fix nitrogen, but from a producer's point of view, it's not the only things that we look at. You've got to be able to grow it. You've got to be able to, it's got to be a good survivor in the formulation that you've been using. In the pack, it's got to be a good survivor on the seed, and it's got to perform well in the field, of course. So there's a lot of aspects to what we consider a good strain that we have to take into consideration, and to change it would mean a hell of a lot of work. You've got to grow it. Does it grow in the growth medium that you've developed for growth? Does it work in your production system and everything else? So in looking at all of these things, 532C has been our strain, and it's not the one that we use in France because we have to use G49, we have to use other ones in Brazil. But in the rest of the world, this is the strain that we prefer because we know it works well, and it's been field tested widely. That's the bottom line.